I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and today I want to show you some updates that I've made to my Razor Crest build. This is my Razor Crest mock. It is minifig scale, 4,100 pieces. I actually sell the instructions to this bad boy for $30 US, so if you'd like to build one for yourself, shoot me an email to the email in the description or the pinned comment on this video, and we can handle that transaction there. I know a lot of people are looking for something to do during these trying times, during this quarantine, and why not build yourself a Razor Crest? So there's a few things that I've done to this, mostly things that people have been asking for, specifically with adding in a closed-in cockpit. I was mostly fine with the one I had before, but people kept asking for a closed-in cockpit. I realized that there just wasn't really a specific cockpit piece that I liked. Like, I'd seen people use some like domed pieces up here in the front, but I wanted to maintain the actual correct shape of the cockpit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's kind of how I came up with this design here, and also built a stand for it. And that's so cool to me because this is such a large model, and having it be able to finally be displayed on a stand at a slant, I think is pretty freaking cool. You can see that just by the looks of the stand, it maintains the Lego UCS Stand aesthetic, and I also included a little 8x16 tile there for an eventual information plaque, so hopefully at some point I can get one of those made, and maybe even have that as an option for people who buy the instructions. So first thing we're going to take a look at today is the stand. I removed the information plate so you guys can get a better look at the stand. I included some studs for you to place your Mandalorian figure as well as your Baby Yoda figure. The official one, whenever it comes out, I'm just using this custom one as a placeholder for now. But it's actually very sturdy. Like I said earlier, I tried to maintain the Lego UCS Stand aesthetic, mostly using black pieces, Technic pieces, and Technic lift arms to construct this stand, and it actually works out pretty well. This is actually kind of difficult to figure out just because it took me forever to come up with a mechanism that would basically allow this like build to stay on the stand like as is. I know a lot of Lego sets include, or UCS sets specifically, have like a hole in the bottom of the build, and there's like a peg on the stand that you'd sit it on to keep it sturdy. But I didn't incorporate that into this build, and I didn't want to have to like restructure the actual build to put it on the stand, because a lot of people have already built this, and I didn't want them to have to make significant changes to the bottom of this thing in order to get it to accommodate the stand. So what I actually came up with this was this doohickey right here. I can actually refocus the camera up there. And what this thing does is it actually connects to the side of the Razor Crest. You basically place the Razor Crest on the stand, and these holes are actually just here from the landing gears that plug in. So you take off the landing gears, you put this on the stand, and then you actually connect this end. And what this actually does, it just holds it in place because it's at an angle right here. It would be very easy for this model to just tip over, especially since the engines are so far like off from the center of gravity. It was just very easy for this thing to tip over. Once I incorporated this mechanism right here, though, it stays on here totally fine, and it also just makes me feel better about having it on the stand. You know, you don't have to worry about shaking it or moving it around. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to fall off the stand, and that's really the main thing you want to accomplish when incorporating a stand into a build. So I think it looks good. I'm very happy with the angle. Hopefully I can reach out to some people and actually get a custom UCS sticker made for this bad boy right here, and it'll look like a fully fledged like official model, which is kind of cool. Our next order of business here is going to be the cockpit area, and this is the biggest change that has actually happened to the actual model of the Razor Crest. And like I said earlier, this is something that a lot of people have been asking for. For me personally, it was not a big deal to have a closed-in cockpit. I'm just kind of used to models not having it when it comes to mocks, because Lego just generally doesn't make very good cockpit molds. Like, they just don't in general. Like, there's a few exceptions. I think the UCS Falcon, the UCS Slave 1, and even the newer UCS Snowspeeder all have decent cockpit molds, but every other ship has an inaccurate mold in one way or another. Even the official set, the cockpit mold, isn't really correct at all, pretty much. What I like about the design that I've come up with here is it still maintains the general shape of the cockpit of the Razor Crest, and that was the most important thing to me. The Lego set uses a piece that's basically domed at the very front and it's kind of sitting on its side. The issue here is that the front of the Razor Crest, while it's kind of domed on the sides, it's not a dome that's really meant to sit at a slant. Basically, what you end up with is a cockpit window that like comes out and then up, as opposed to something that actually slants back. Hopefully that makes sense. I can actually include a photo of the official Lego Razor Crest building. You guys can see that. So basically, to maintain the mostly correct shape of the cockpit here, I ended up going with these pieces right here. This is actually really nice. This is from the Jedi and Clone Battle Pack. I have a bunch of that battle pack, which means I ended up with a bunch of this windscreen right here. And I realized that it created the perfect shape for at least the front section of the Razor Crest window right here. I actually have to give credit to someone else for the idea of using these curved tiles right here. Like, they emailed me, and their email name is just first and last, so I can't give them proper credit because that's just the name of the email. If they end up in the comment section, I'll definitely point them out and give them that credit. But I actually really love the use of these curved tiles right here. That actually really helped that shape come out exactly as I wanted it to. The next thing to figure out was how to close in this gap right here. And I don't love the solution I came up with because there's still, like, it should be just closed in a little bit more here. I would love some sort of round flag piece that could come in here, preferably one that's even kind of rounded, just to really give it that round shape on the sides of the cockpit here. Unfortunately, that piece just doesn't exist for this. Like, I looked at literally every single Lego piece that comes in TransClear. I literally got on Bricklink and I went through every single Lego piece that comes in TransClear and couldn't find a single one that really got the job done for this angle right here, which kind of made sense. Like, it's a weird shape that you'd have to get right there. But I do like what I came up with here. This is just a clear flag piece. It just came in the First Order Transport Speeder Battle Pack. A lot of those battle packs came in handy when putting this thing together. So I like the way that came out, and I think that, like, if you take it as a whole, it looks pretty good. It's not the perfect cockpit, but I think it works for me in terms of maintaining the actual correct shape of the Razor Crest cockpit. That was the most important thing for me. I didn't want the cockpit to look wrong, because, I mean, it's the cockpit. It's one of the first things you notice. It's at the front of the ship. If that's incorrect, I think that would actually throw off the entire ship. So that actually came out pretty well, in my opinion. Another modification I made is I actually changed the window colors behind it. Now, when I was first designing this mock, it wasn't obvious to me that, like, this section was a window and this was a window, because the show hadn't premiered yet. So it wasn't clear to me that you could actually see straight through these. I thought that if you could, like, it would be very dark tint, which is why I just went with black curved tiles. I'm sorry, black curved slopes and black tiles to fill in these sections right here. Having seen the show, it's very obvious these are windows. You can actually see straight through them. There really doesn't appear to be much tint on the windows of the Razor Crest. Like, you can really just see straight through all of them. So that's why I ended up doing these TransClear pieces here to basically form the windows and make a thing, make it to where you can actually see through it a bit. I did have to use some, like, gray pieces under it to basically just maintain the structure of it. If I pull it off here, you can see that you can't totally see through it. Like, there are some gray pieces that you'll notice there, but for the most part, it does look like a window. And that was really the more important thing to accomplish here. In case you were wondering, the rest of the ship is mostly the same, other than these curved tiles that were added here. You are still able to remove this thing and put it back on. There's no issues with that. So those of you who have already built one of these, or if you already gotten the instructions for it, the only modifications you'll be making is actually to this section right here. So you're not going to have to, tear apart your Razor Crest to make these changes. I don't want to concern anyone. And that's going to finish up the video today. I hope you enjoyed checking out the updates that I made to my Razor Crest build. If you're interested in seeing more of this, like more of the interior, the lights, things like that, I do have 2 other videos on it, so I'll link those in the description so you guys can check out all that this model has to offer. I think still to this point, this is one of my, no, I have to say, this is my favorite ship build that I've designed. I think I really did a wonderful job with this, and I'm just very proud of my creation. So hopefully you guys appreciate that as well. If you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.